Monday mornings always seemed to begin before Florence was ready for them. At 37, she had grown used to the hour-long train ride to the large hospital, where she worked as a medical receptionist, greeting strangers with a smile, even when her own energy felt borrowed. Living alone had taught her many kinds of silence, yet none of them answered the question that had followed her through every relationship. The men had been kind, thoughtful, even dependable, but some invisible note had always been missing, and she could never name the melody she longed to hear. Rain traced delicate paths across the train windows, while Florence lost herself in the pages of her novel. The carriage was packed, every seat occupied, and the aisles crowded with sleepy commuters carrying umbrellas that still glistened with water. She welcomed the familiar rhythm of wheels on rails, letting it soften the noise inside her own mind. Sometimes she wondered whether people were all traveling toward their lives or merely circling them. A quiet disturbance spread through the carriage when an elderly couple, both well into their 70s, stepped aboard, searching for seats. The man sitting next to Florence immediately stood and offered his place to the elderly woman with an easy kindness that seemed completely natural. Before she even realized she had decided, Florence rose and offered her own seat to the elderly gentleman. As he thanked her warmly, she met the other man's eyes, and his small smile and respectful nod felt oddly brighter than the gray morning outside. They stood beside each other in the crowded aisle, while the train carried them through curtains of rain. Florence slipped her book into her bag and watched blurred houses drift past the window like unfinished memories. Whenever the train swayed, their shoulders or hands brushed lightly, and each time the man quietly adjusted his position to spare her the accidental contact. His restraint stirred something gentle inside her, and she found herself smiling without allowing the smile to reach her face. Then the train slammed to an unexpected stop. The crowd lurched forward, and before Florence could catch herself, she was thrown directly against him. Strong hands closed around her arms, steadying rather than claiming, holding rather than pulling. When she looked into his eyes, concern and tenderness existed there so naturally that the moment seemed to open like a hidden door inside her. Everything lasted only a heartbeat, yet time unfolded with impossible generosity. She became aware of the warmth beneath his shirt, the steady rhythm of his breathing, and the remarkable calm that surrounded him despite the startled voices around them. Without a single romantic word being spoken, Florence felt protected in a way she had never known before. The train began moving again, and they stepped apart with an almost reluctant grace. He asked softly if she was all right, and Florence answered yes, though the word carried far more wonder than certainty. They exchanged only a few ordinary sentences before his station approached, yet each one settled inside her like a smooth stone dropped into still water. She found herself wishing, not desperately, but sincerely, that the journey might stretch on forever. When the train slowed, he smiled once more before stepping onto the platform. He raised a hand in farewell, and Florence answered with a smile that surprised even herself. Through the rain-speckled glass, she watched him disappear into the crowd, not fading so much as becoming part of the morning itself. For an instant, she imagined that some meetings are not meant to change our destination, but to quietly reveal the map we have been carrying all along.